this and in order to answer, because this is very extreme level experience people question, right? What is difference between these two? Both are creating images only. What do you say? Any change you notice here? Anything newly? Any idea? Any guess? Here first we are using, in the first we are using what? New, right? New image. And here we are using document dot create element, and there is no new. What is difference between these two is this image is created outside DOM memory. That means actually for DOM some memory is allocated. For DOM some memory is allocated. In that memory itself we can create all elements. You don't need to use a new memory outside DOM. Actually our previous concept was doing that. I am not using new, then how memory is allocated? I am not using new, then how memory is allocated? Because for DOM already memory is allocated. And all these days what we were doing, we were using that existing memory. We were using that existing DOM memory and we are creating elements. That is good. That is easier, that is faster, and that is recommended. Then why this facility also given? New image means you are creating a separate image outside DOM. Why you are creating an image outside DOM and adding to DOM? Why you are, remember this is not even IMG, huh? It is image class separate. Why you are creating a image outside DOM and add? I already told you that these kind of questions will be common for experienced people. Why? Because we discussed, that means if I say I have 10 years experience, we have question for 10 years experience. So for a fresher we have a question. For 20 years experience person also we have questions. Because even you have 20 years experience in one technology, you may not know everything in that technology. Technology is such huge. You may not work with everything in that technology. It's very huge, right? That means even you spend 20 years on one technology, you are not perfect in it. Something will be missing, something you don't know. So much huge environment is actually. That's the reason software developers, lifelong learners. Lifelong you have to keep learning, because every day some new things will come, some things will change regularly. Some things you not worked in previous project, but in this project you have to work with them. These are all important. So any guess you can think why we can create, why we have to create a image outside DOM and add to DOM? What do you say? Any guess, any idea? Outside DOM, why you are creating? Any idea? So why you are creating outside DOM? Actually, this technique is used for extensibility, extending the application. Extending the application means you built application and given to client. He is using it. Now, when he is using it, we cannot disturb that application, but we need to add some new feature to that application. Then how? Without disturbing the application, we need to build a new feature and later push that new feature into that application. For example, you are using WhatsApp, Facebook and all. And Facebook people have to send a new feature. Then will they ask you to stop using Facebook? No. They will just ask you to keep Facebook idle for few minutes, or you just leave Facebook without using for few minutes. Then automatically they push the new details. And simply they show a notification that Facebook updated with the new features. You are not doing that. You are not doing that. That means why we need this facility? So that it is used in extending application. Extending application means without disturbing the application, we build new feature outside the application and then push into the application. In that case, this technique is used. Because in that case, we don't have DOM. Then without DOM, we have to create a new image. That means actually architecture something looks like this. For example, suppose we have a bank application. In this bank application, we are having two features. That means we have option like personal banking. We have like retail banking. Like this, we have two features. We given this to client. He started using it. But later, we have to add some NRI banking. NRI banking to that bank application. But what we have to do is we cannot stop this existing application. We cannot ask like stop using it and give to us. We will add a new facility. Then they will be using this application. We have to build this new module outside application. We have to build that new module outside application. After building it, we have to push this into existing application. That means now this is think like this is the existing DOM, right? This is existing DOM. In DOM, if you want to create element, then you use document dot create element. But outside DOM, if you want to create element, then document create element will not work because there is no DOM here. Then what we have to do? We have to create a new image. We have to create a new table. For every element, we have external classes. We design external classes and through them we can create. And after that, we build a table and an image and we push this into this application. Push this into application means we push this into the DOM. So in such cases, we have to use this new. Actually, new is used for arrays, objects, and other purpose also. But if anybody shows you this kind of design and ask you that why I will create a new image, you can create a new image where you can create a tab is equal to new table. You can create a new table, right? So sometimes you can create an class by yourself, design a table and use that. For every purpose, there will not be external classes. You have to build it. You have to use it. So technically, what is difference? I hope you understood. Example I will give here, right? So here one first question I will give. The frequently asked question here. What is the difference between a new image and document dot create element img? Because both are creating images only. The answer is new image is used to create an image outside DOM. Document dot create element is used to create within the DOM. Within the DOM. That is the point actually. Document dot create element is used to create within the DOM. And new is used to create outside the DOM. So example is this. This is the example. Let me copy this. One we are creating with image, another one with this. Create element. So wherever new is there, that means memory is separately allocated for it. Dynamically memory allocated for it, and we are using that dynamically allocated memory. That is one important operator we have, that is new, right? That is the new operator, right? Next important in the operators, we have another void operator. Void operator. Void is also a special operator. Actually, void, it is used to discard the return. It is used to discard the return memory. It is used to discard the return memory. Generally, learning level people call as it is used to discard the return value, and some people call as discard. Yeah, some people call as void will not return a value. All are same only. So void will not return a value, and sometimes people called void means no return type. Void means no return type. Is it no return type? Is it no return value? Or is it discarding value or discarding memory? This is the very, very important point to understand. For example, later in OOP concepts, I will tell you, because for that we need to learn about functions also. But before that, I will just give you this concept, because this is same across all technologies. Across all technologies, it is same. For example, see, later detailedly I will give you in function concept. Suppose we are writing a function. The function name is some addition. We have a comma b. Now this function is having simply like this. So result where result is equal to a plus b. This is one. Another function I'm writing like this: function and addition a comma b. Here I am return a plus b. What is difference between these two? What is difference between these two? Both are used to do the same work. Take two values and return the result of addition of two of them. Then what is difference between these two? What is difference between these two? Any idea? Anything you notice? Any idea notice? So anything more clear? Anything you can guess? Actually, the first method is a void method. This method, this function is called void function. First one is a void one. That is very important. That is the reason I told you, even people who learn JavaScript, once they see the questions, MNC level questions, they feel like these all very simple, but I can't answer. These look very simple. I learned all these, but I don't know correct answer. Right? Because complication will be like that. Actually, what is difference? Observe here. Memory is allocated for addition function. In that memory, it is storing a value and it is storing b value, right? Again, another memory is allocated for result. In that memory, it is storing a plus b value. That means two separate memories. One memory for the function parameters, another memory for the variable inside the function. That means the same memory is not used for both of them. One memory for addition, another memory for result. Another memory for result. So now what second function is doing? Second function is doing is addition is memory is allocated for addition. Addition, in that we have a equal to 10 and b equal to 20. In that addition memory only, it will store a plus b. That means it will not create another new memory. It will store this a plus b inside this memory only. That means now only one memory. So for both, here what happened? It discards the extra memory. So here what happens is void. What void is doing? After allocating memory for a and b, it will disconnect. After disconnecting, it will create another memory for result. But here it is not discarding, it is continuing that memory. The memory allocated for a and b, the same memory is used for returning a plus b. What does return means? Return is a jump statement. Jump statement means terminate the execution, not returning value. Many people have a wrong idea. Return means returns value. Return is not return value. Return is a jump statement. Return is used to terminate the execution. Return is not returning value. Return is terminating execution. That means what return is doing, it is stopping the execution. It is stopping the execution, and whatever result comes, that result it is storing in the same memory. It is storing in the same memory. So what void is doing? Void is discarding the memory. If it is discarding the memory, another memory must be allocated to store its results. If it is not discarding the memory, then the result will be stored in the same. For example, now see here, means simple. Here I am creating a script. Function addition is equal to a comma b, and var c is equal to a plus b. Another function add is equal to a comma b and return a plus b. Now how to present this? Document dot write. Document dot write. So first one is c is equal to, am I right? C is equal to whatever the value in C. But for that, we have to perform a plus b. We need to send values, right? That means here itself we are presenting the data. Here itself we are presenting the data. C equal to C. Now how to access and use it? We have to access addition into the 10 comma 20. That means one memory is for addition, another memory is for C to store this operation and return and present it. Now you can see it is presenting it. And but see the second one, just document dot write. Document dot write. We have to use add. Add into that we pass some 30 comma 20. That's it. Now what it is going to do, it will perform this operation and store the result in add, and it is printing that add. That means it is performing 30 plus 20 and storing in add. Add is working like a variable now. That means the result of 30 plus 20 is stored in the add and it is returning. That means it should work with the same technique. I will print in a new line, right? That means it is printing in the same way. Then what is difference between both of them? One is a void method, another one is a method which returns value, not void. What is meant by void? That means void discards the return. It discards the memory. When it discards the memory, you need another memory to handle its values. If you don't want to discard the memory, we want to continue the same memory, then and use the same memory, then we have to use return. This is later in functions. I will tell you more detail. We will discuss about the functions, return types and all more detailedly, right? As of now, here you need to just understand what is the difference between this. Why it is called void? Means it is used to discard the return memory. If it discards the return memory, you have to allocate a new memory to store its values. If it is not discarding the return memory, then it will continue to use the memory. This is very big concept actually. In functions, you will learn more detail. That is the reason people have different meanings for that. Sometimes people say it discards return value. Sometimes people say it will not return value, right? Sometimes people say it no return type. Of course, if there is no return value, then will be no return type. But actually it is not about type. It is not about value. It is about memory. It is not about type. It is not about value. It is about memory. So this is very important. Later you will learn this in functions, but here I will show you a sample example. See, let me give you this just as a basic example. This is not example related to this void. Means it is related to void, but related to functions. Actual, for you to understand clearly, I will show you here. Suppose I am writing a link and home, that is the link home. And here what I am doing is I am leaving it like this. Why I am leaving it like this? Because that link functionality should be implemented by somebody else. Means my responsibility is to design a link and somebody else have to implement it. Means somebody else have to give a functionality to it. That's not my job. My job only design empty links and give to him. Now in this case, now when I create a link like this, my testing team will test this, because unit testing happens at every level. Even the code is not finished, 10% finished, 10% tested. In that case, my testing team will send a report to me saying that this is invalid link. This is invalid link. What report they will send? That link must have an href and it is not having an href. Then, okay, this is not valid. Then I will write href like this. Is it valid? This is also not valid because href needs a path. Okay, I return empty. Is it valid? That's also not valid. I return hash. Is it valid? Not valid. Why it is valid? Hash means ID, na? Where is ID? Where is ID? That is also not valid. Many people think this is valid, right? And many people will give you point like empty links, right? Like this. No, we can't write empty links like this, because this link also works. Observe carefully now. I click on home and it is working. You see hash, it is showing here. That means it is adding hash in the URL and it's not working. Test failed. Then how do I give a link to tell that it will not do anything? How do we create a link and tell my testing team that this will not return anything? Later it will return. Then we use a JavaScript. By using JavaScript, we write void. Now see what happens here. You have a link here. You have a link now. It looks perfectly like a link, and click on it. Nothing is happening. That means not even changing the color as visited link. Previously hash was changing as visited link. That's not good. So that means now this is perfect void link. That means this link will not return anything. But our developer, later what they can do is they can implement a functionality. Later they can write location.href is equal to home.html. They can implement a functionality later. If they implemented the functionality later, I click on it, it can navigate to that page. That means initially it is not doing anything, but later it can some functionality. We can implement later with some functionality, but we need to create a link which will not do anything. Then we have to use this void. Use this void. So this is how we can configure anything without return type. That means this is an example. So link without, you can say link void type. This is the link void type. And how we implement a functionality later to it. Same, just we have to add some functionality like this. Location dot href. Later you will learn location is a JavaScript object which is used to get URL location. Right? Later you will learn about that JavaScript. But this is void, and this is implementing void. That is implementing that void. So why you designed a void and why you are implementing? We designed a void because we are not responsible for that functionality. Later that functionality must be implemented. There cannot be void type links anywhere in the project when it goes live. Every void type link must be implemented, right? So for that they use various technique for implementation. This is a void operator. This is one important operator. So this is also operator. Remember, these are all called operators. You don't call as keywords. Sometimes wrongly people call keywords, right? These are not keywords. These are operators, right? Another important operator we have in operator. Already we know it. In operator, it is used to verify a property. It is used to verify a property in object and return Boolean true or false. We have to syntactically write like this: property in object. Property in object. It will verify whether the property is that in that object or not, and it will return true. Already I showed you that example, and we used this in operator. We used that in operator with the help of for iterator also. For in is used for reading all properties. So it is used to verify the property. In operator is used to verify the properties. So actually we design like this. Suppose I said script where product is equal to object and the name, and we have price, some price, and here we are using document dot write. So price in product, is it available or not? It will return true or false. Already we know that. And if I deleted it, so delete product dot price, then it will return as false. You can verify whether the property is available in that particular object or not, and we can return it. That is actually in. So this is the example for that. This is the example for in. And you can use this with combination of for. You can use with combination of for in. What is the combination of for in? For in combination is, it is used to read every property in a collection, every property in an object. So for in, for where property in object. That means it is going to read every property from the object and return it. With iterations we use to read every property. Already we are doing that. So many examples we saw how to read the property of every object. Right. Next we have another operator. We have another operator is off operator. Off operator. Actually, it is used to verify value in a collection. But important, it cannot directly work. It can be used only over iteration. Already we used it. Syntactical, if you know, we used it for where item of collection. Off is also an operator. It is used to read every value for where item in collection. Here it is going to read, this is not item, this is what? Property. One is in is for property, off is for value. So it is used over an iteration only. You can use over iterations. That is the special operators. We have another set called bitwise operators, but we will not learn now. Bitwise operators you will learn in Node.js, because for that you need to know binary concepts. But binaries are not great with HTML. Later, when you learn about server-side technology, I will tell you. There you will come across with binary streams. There you will understand how to handle them. So these are all the various types of operators in JavaScript. Now, after understanding the operators, now we need to know about statements. JavaScript statements. We need to know about the statements. And one by one, we will see actually what is the purpose of statements. In computer programming, statements are used. Statements are used to control the execution flow. In computer programming, statements are used to control the execution flow. That means a computer program starts executing in a sequential order, everything one by one. You can control the execution flow, whether to stop here, go forward, whether to execute one time or several times. The controlling the execution flow of any computer program is done by statements. And JavaScript statements are classified into following types. JavaScript statements are classified into so many types. We have selection statements. In that we have if, else, switch, case, default. This comes under selection statements. We have looping statements. In that for, while, do while, these will come under looping statements. We have iteration statements. Iteration statements we have like for in and for of. These are iteration statements. So we have jump statements. Jump statements we have like break, return, continue. This comes under jump statements. And we have exception handling statements. Exception handling statements. Try, catch, throw, finally. All these comes under exception handling statements. These are used for controlling the execution flow. So selection statements, looping iteration statements, jump statements, and exception handling statements. Those are the keywords used for those statements. Selection statements, if else, switch case, default. And looping statements, we have for, while, and do while. Iterations, we have for in and for off. Jump, we have break, continue, return. And exception handling statements, we have try, catch, throw, and finally. Now we will start with first selection statements. But already some here and there we learned. But we need to detailedly discuss the difference. As a developer, you should know when and where to use which statement. Right? That is where people feel difficulty. Because a computer programming is very easy to understand if you can know the correct situation, when and where which option is to be used. If you can't catch that point, you cannot handle programming properly for lifelong. So that means people sometimes blindfoldedly write program without knowing why they are using for that situation. Right? So that will be clearly understood when we have explored these all concepts one by one. We will see first selection statements, how to work with them. What is if, what is else, and how to use if and else. That we'll see tomorrow. Right? Tomorrow we will start with selection statements. How do we work with the statement? Now some more complex examples will come. Right? Anybody tried that BMI calculator and all? Right? I will check once. I haven't seen your examples. Today I will see. Whatever. So tomorrow we will check with these selection statements. Right?